So one of the things I've been doing with supporting leaders in extra dependent teams to lead well is thinking about the relationships they have with their team members and other people in the organization and how they have the performance conversations that are related to that. There's an inherent problem that goes on within an extra dependent team and performance conversations, and this is it. For performance conversations, what typically happens is the extra dependent team member needs to understand and get an assessment for their performance at any point in time, but typically, especially at the end of the year, whatever that is. And they go to their line manager and they have a conversation. Says, right, so manager, what is my assessment of what is your assessment of my performance? Of course, the problem is that the extra dependent team manager barely sees the work that the extra dependent team member does, because they're always working outside the team, working with somebody else. So there's very little to witness, and this puts the extra dependent team manager in a bit of a problem. What they then do is they turn to typically people who engage with that their member, and in this case the interdependent team manager, and they say, so can you tell me and give me some feedback about what's been going on with my team member? How are they performing? So I can give them some feedback myself and do an assessment for them. The problem is that the independent team manager and extra dependent team member aren't entirely sure what their relationship is, because it's typically called a dotted line, whatever that is. It's not really clarified. So if it's done at the end of the year, then nobody's really been monitoring the progress, and it's then generalized, non-specific feedback that comes back to the line manager. The feedback is given, the line manager, it's problematic, it's not specific enough, generalized, and then that comes back to the team member. It's not owned by the extra dependent team manager. How accurate is it? How credible is it? How useful is it? And that's really hit and miss. If it's praise, of course, the extra dependent team manager might actually say that's fine, or it may turn around that it's negative, in which the extra dependent team member says, well, I don't believe it because that's not my experience, and it causes all sorts of engagement issues. So it's an ongoing problem, and I've found this in most organizations that this type of conversation goes on. So what is the solution? Well, it's still using the three main players involved, but where is the performance actually happening? The performance is happening within the interdependent team, to which the extra dependent team member plays a part. They are performing a unique contribution to the team that's working together towards that common goal. So the interdependent team manager and the extra dependent team member need to realize that that's a key element of how performance is delivered. The relationship then the extra dependent team manager has with the extra dependent team member is around combined capability in line with shared repertoire. So if they are meeting together as an extra dependent team, they are learning together, they're sharing a repertoire, and they are building their combined capability. That combined capability, as I've mentioned in previous videos, means that the extra dependent team member is becoming stronger because they're a member of that team, and they're deploying increased capability through that learning process into the interdependent teams. So the question is, the combination here is how are they learning together? How are they building their capability, and to what extent are they sharing, that member sharing amongst the extra dependent team their strengths and weaknesses, so that the team is benefiting? So currently we've got two performance conversations going on, one internal to the extra dependent team and one internal to the interdependent team, both of which the extra dependent team member needs to play a part. But there's a third conversation, and this third conversation is rarely done. And that's between the extra dependent team manager and the interdependent team manager. This is around the deployment of the combined capability. Is my member of my extra dependent team adding all of the capability that they can offer, that my team can offer, Are they adding that into your interdependent team? Indeed, are you as an independent team manager actually utilizing the full capability of my extra-dependent team member? Because if they're not, then there's a question mark, there's a communication that needs to happen between the extra-dependent team manager about to the interdependent team manager about how to utilize that capability. So that third conversation is really important to help the management and the leadership happen in the right place at the right time and get the best out of the contribution that the extra-dependent team member brings to the interdependent team. And all those three conversations need to be happening pretty much all the time. They aren't going to happen in the same room. They're going to be happening one-to-one at different times, but they need to be happening concurrently. And over a period of time, a month, 6 months, 1 year, they all help to understand what is the performance that that extra-dependent team member, as a member of an extra-dependent team, bringing to the wider organization.